Hello my dear viewers and welcome to a new video. How is your climb going on? Assuming you are still aspiring to reach a higher tier this split. In my case, I am still enjoying my week of silence in this asylum, and I think when Riot gives you any sorts of punishments, they send you to play with the bad boys of League of Legends. In other words, players that are trying to experiment with new champions in League. I don't know why or how, but for the past week all my teammates have barely 5 to 10 games on that champion. I guess this is not the loser's queue, rather the noob's queue. But we are not here to complain, but to enjoy ourselves and find meaning in what we do, whatever that might be. I am still looking for a tool that gives you a different type of information, and that is the possible good or viable build against your current enemy composition. For example, in this game, I am against a full damage team. Their support is Vi, and I would say that composition are mainly casters, and they are heavy damage dealers. And since I didn't know what to build, I'll go for what I know works as a good build on average for Volibear, and that is the Gauntlet Rush. In my opinion, it is the least fun and most likely will place you at the lowest position when regarding to dealing damage, but it will enable you to build a small lead and share it with your team via the slow and press the attack proc. The only issue with this mentality is that you plan to be a team player, not a solo carry, and with time that might backfire. One thing I did to enforce this idea on my team is that I typed at the champ select, "Hi guys, I am chat restricted, so please follow my pings and thank you for playing with me." And oddly enough, people are more often friendlier, I assume. Even one of them said if the jungler got no honor means he is good on average. And that is assumed to be true. Even a study, assuming it is a fair study, was released indicating that League of Legends have the highest IQ among other MMORP players. Sadly, they didn't mention any toxicity study so far. This is what I call the perfect timing. I predicted this would happen since I took her blue and wolves. I went and did the Krugs in the hope of this would happen, and here we are. You might notice I took Flash this time. Well, because of Yorick's wall. The new buffs are indeed stronger than expected, and if he is any good, he'll go for the heavy DPS build with Trinity, Hull, and Sorarlia, and that will give me a hard time against the Gravedigger. The second problem that I have is that they have also Vi as the support. The amount of CC in this game is a bit unusual. Imagine a cage with a stun and a knockup, and Volibear doesn't benefit much from tanky stats. And if I build a full tank build, I would say goodbye myself and hello bitch mode against their composition. I didn't want to risk killing Sir Copycat because I feel Diana's lurking around his lane. The moment you feel that the enemy jungler didn't show up since a while, you must assume he is waiting for you to make a mistake. I know for a fact that once I complete my 3 items, this dude in front of me, taunting, poking, and dancing will be under my mercy. Patience is a virtue, and as a jungler, you should be so patient that your team may call you jungle diff or useless jungler because you refuse to make risky plays. Since risky plays in the dictionary of League of Legends means the following situation, let's call for the jungler to sacrifice himself so that we can get some kills, plates, and farm. They won't say it openly, but that is exactly what it means when you read useless jungler in the chat. You can feel that ganking topside after you set up your early game is much easier than ganking botside. Well, this is due to the fact that the botside expect you to do everything as a jungler, damage, CC, and give them the kill to the crybaby ad care. On the other hand, on topside, you are both equal. If shit hits the fan, any one of you will have to deal with the 2v1. It is engraved in your mind as a player. Every solo laner have this idea in his mind that at a certain point of the game he will be ganged up and he need to manage that. Botside, they are born together, and they can't think properly until it is too late. Except if you are a Bard player or Pike, those champions are the embodiment of Among Us in League of Legends, a solo laner acting as a support. To be fair, I made Garen lane a bit harder by not ganking, and this is one of my policies. If you pick a counter pick in a different lane, you won't get any help for one reason. Your actions should match your decisions. Picking a range against a melee means you know what you do. And if you watch too much League of Legends cinematics and think just because Sylas was imprisoned in Demacia for years and Garen is leading the defense core will be a counter pick, I can't help you with that. So yeah, never help counter picks and only go for sure players that will deliver if they got ahead. Not cheesy one-timer with delusional ideas. You see, the moment I ganked mid, you can feel the difference in synergy and in the damage. An ideal situation would make me survive and get at least one plate. But to be honest, this is to be expected. My build doesn't have at all any magic resistances. And I am assuming this wouldn't be my last death until I get at least 1 or 2 defensive items. I think about Force of Nature or Canic Rookern, but the second one is weak and doesn't give mobility. I also consider Riftmaker a defensive item, because I value the Omnivamp more than raw defensive stats. I'm still thinking about how to make Rift and Jackshow viable, since they do express clearly Volibear playstyle. You get stronger the longer you fight, but they don't give much mobility or cooldown. So yeah, another idea to be experimented on later on. From our last encounter, we can deduce that Vayne is good, but Set is somewhat just there with a monkey's neuron activation circuit in his brain. We should always keep tabs on who are our allies and our own performance. Topside is good, mid is tilted, support is brain dead, and Vayne is also good. Us, on the other hand, we are displaying a good performance that has turned out to be below average in the mid-game due to the lack of defensive stats. In other words, the game is fine, and we should rush our second and third item to be viable. The enemy team will outscale us if we keep fooling around without getting any objectives as the game progresses. The moment that Mord ulted Diana, I said to myself, damn, that was the correct call. Junglers are always susceptible to be under level and in lack of items if they don't get many kills. But it seems this information is well known the higher you climb. Or maybe Sylas is just copying what others do. Based on my experience, you can only win against Sylas if you get your core 3 items and 1 defensive stats, because you can out-sustain him, and he is mainly a clunky mage assassin that is good against other mages in theory, and he shouldn't win against both mages and bruisers. But this is Riot, and when anything made logic with their design team, their major one rule is, if it can sell skins, then it is good, and that is all. I'm sure that this Yorick isn't having the best game of his life, a melee caster that is meant to split push, and I made sure that he can't do that. Sorry, buddy. I truly like split pushers. I just don't like them when they are on the enemy team, and breaking you is one of my top priorities. And since the enemy team doesn't have a strong splitter, we can simply chill and relax and wait for them to jump Vayne. The only issue is that if they all jump us at once, we will lose 100%, and I'll be the last one standing with Mord watching our carries get nuked from orbit. I don't think we have the composition or the tools to deal with their team due to Sylas. He is the Joker element, and with him, anything can be possible to complete the holes their team. But this is just going on in my mind. Maybe if you overestimate your enemies, you find shackling yourself with ideas that will never happen. This is why I pick Volibear. Whenever my brain starts to overheat, I say fuck it, we are going for the no brain engage mode, and sometimes it is exactly what we needed to win. My original plan was to back after red buff, but the Drake will spawn and I won't like to put my team at a disadvantage. Even though I am stacked on gold, this is one of those calls that is justifiable only if it works. And I think we lost the dragon fight just because I didn't spend my 2k gold. Me staying alive there for just even 1 or 2 extra seconds would have changed the course of that fight drastically. Now you would assume that if I backed and got my items, my time would have been engaged on 4v5, and that would hence to correct play will never be known. And the only option is to improve my gaming decision with more games. I really don't know why they went back. That play was very questionable, but at the end of the day, they are the bot side. And they don't have the word bot there for their location on the map, but rather their deterministic thinking patterns. Hence, whenever they can feed, they will feed. I truly wanted that play to work, because Vi's ultimate provides a lot of support for their team. It is as if they have a big, huge sign that says, kill this dude that I am ultimating, and either using it on me or killing her would give Vayne a lot of room, and I won't be thinking about peeling for my ad care. My main goal would be SKD, search, kill, and destroy. On the bright side, Garen finally did something useful after 20 minutes of misery and complaining. Now the rest of the fight should be easy, and the only thing we need to care about is Yorick's backdoor angle. Now that we have the Baron buff, we are free to do whatever we want as long as we are doing constructive calls towards the win. If you recall earlier, I told you once I get my items this Sylas wouldn't stand a chance. The one issue that we have now, unlike earlier, is the collector effect. Jhin does max health crit % damage. In other words, if no one focused Jhin, I'll be dead meat since he is an artist that does the triathlon in his free time, with his flash, ghost, and passive movement speed. But as long as I set up Vayne for success, I can die with a smile on my face. This is nice, even though we died, but we will get out of this death an inhibitor and multiple towers. And with that gold, I'll be buying my Riftmaker. Now it might seem that having pressed the attack wouldn't draw the real potential of Riftmaker damage. That would be correct, but no one guarantees that we will be reaching that stage of standing in the middle of the lane and swinging our way towards the victory. You can check that most of our duels in this game were bad, because the enemy have more mobility, dashes, or simply we can face them head-on without the correct itemization. On the other hand, when I have doubts, I find that taking press the attack at worst-case scenario will lead a consistent result. No flashy plays or one-health moments where you clutch your butt, but it will set up your damage in the early game and in the late game, way above than expected for the enemy team. This would be my unofficial pentakill on Volibear, a triple into a double kill. Let's hope a better luck next time. This achievement would only serve as a clickbait if I were honest, but it truly feels nice to get a pentakill from time to time. Now the game is hugely into our favor, but no matter how many adjectives you add to winning, it doesn't count until you actually win. That is why getting 2 inhibitors and some towers into a baby reset is the correct and most wise choice after a very hyped moment. I did some buffs to recover my health, but to be honest, I won't be satisfied until I get to test this build in a real fight that is fitting for our beloved bear. And with that play, we got our answer. Whenever someone asks who is stronger, the 3 items AP off tank Volibear or 2 assassins mages with 2 burst items, don't hesitate and simply answer, nah, the bear will win. And with that, my dear viewers, our time has reached to an end. Make sure to do the usual like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Maybe you would have done things differently if you were in my place. And as always, thank you for watching, and peace.